live stream. I'm very excited to do this. This is our second day in, and I have some questions from yesterday and from our social media posts to get through. So without further ado, let's get into it. Question number one: when buying a Williams Corporation home, is the financing done through you or the banks? That is a good question. So at the moment, when you come in, we aren't financial advisors and we don't give financial advice. So we'll help you select a property based on what you want and what you need. And then in our contract, we have 1 week due diligence for you to confirm that that's the right house for you. And then we have another week for finance. Now, what we'll do is we'll introduce you to 2 mortgage brokers. And then it's up to you, or you may already have a relationship, or you may have a relationship with your bank. And it's up to you to go and get finance and go through that process. But we are in the process of purchasing a mortgage company and getting all of our appropriate licenses to make that process easier. So what will actually happen is you'll be able to select a property and then go round into the next office in Williams Corporation, and we'll be able to help you with your finance to really streamline that process. So at the moment, we introduce you to a broker, but in the future, we will have an in-house finance department, and that will be able to help you further. So we sort of a little bit of both. So the second question is the 10% deposit towards capital value or to lock the deal in? I don't quite understand what you mean by capital value, but essentially, I'll explain what the 10% deposit is. So the 10% deposit, we do not have your money. So the money is held in a lawyer's trust account as stakeholder for the purchaser and for the builder. So we can't use your money to build the house. We can't touch the money. And in the event of something going wrong, that money's released back to you by the lawyer with the interest. So essentially, the 10% deposit is held in the lawyer's trust account for you, is essentially for you to confirm that you're going through with the deal. And it helps our finance because we obviously need to raise finance to build the entirety of the house. So that's what that 10% deposit is. And we actually charge a 20% deposit to foreign buyers. When do you think the market will start to take off again? I love that question. Now, look, I like the quote from Warren Buffett, and he says, "Those who live by the crystal ball are bound to eat crushed glass." And essentially, nobody knows what the market is doing short term. And anyone that says they do is lying. I sat through COVID with countless economists. Really, my whole life, most economists have been wrong about interest rates, about where the economy is going, about what's happening. I was very vocal during COVID that the housing market would increase, not decrease. And I was laughed at, and then the market went mad, and I was right. So I'll answer this question in a long form answer and a short form answer. Short form answer is, I believe the fundamentals for New Zealand houses to increase in value are in place and strong. It's a fantastic place to live, and we'll see long-term population growth. We still do not have a strong construction sector, so we're not seeing enough supply. We're always seeing price increases, both in materials, labour, council fees, etc. So we essentially have long-term population growth over time, low supply, and increased replacement costs. So I think New Zealand over time will have house prices increase. Now, short term, I think we're going to see the last of interest rates rising this year. And I think people will then see that as the bottom of the market. We may even see early next year rates start to come back a tiny bit, or they might just stay where they are. And then once I think people feel we're in the bottom of the market, we'll start to see volume of transactions increase. And then once we see volume of transactions increase, I think we'll start to see prices going back up again. So I think next year, it may be later next year, but I think next year we will see that turn and then back into a growth phase in the market. Also, next year we have an election, which is interesting. In my career, it's always been dead for 3 to 4 months leading into the election. So we will have a period of low transactions. People just seem to sit and wait and see what's going to happen when we're having a change of government. So, but look, I'm very, very bullish on property long term, and I'm currently building my portfolio this year. So, me personally, Matthew Horncastle, the investor, I have 25 properties now, and I'm significantly increasing that over the next 12 months. It may even double. And then Williams Corporation, we are still buying. We're literally buying a site today. So we're very positive about the market. What advice to structure a mortgage in the current market? That's a good question. I have always done 1 year fixed. And the reason I've done 1 year fixed mortgages is because that appears to be the lowest margin product the bank releases. So when you purchase into a low margin product, over time, if you consistently buy the product with the lowest margin, I can't see why that wouldn't give you the best value. Now, I've never actually done a study on it. This is not data. This is just my gut feel. But yeah, I always do 1 year fixed. And also what 1 year fixed gives you is a greater flexibility. And that flexibility allows you to do other transactions that you may not be able to do if you were fixing for longer periods of time. So that suits me and that suits my chapter of life. I can understand why people would do longer periods of fixed mortgages because they want a set, locked in scenario. And that makes sense. But yeah, I've always done 1 year fixed, and that's worked very well for me my entire life. What is your most popular number bedroom townhouses? It does change from city to city, but I'd probably say a 2 bedroom. But our 1 bedrooms are extremely popular and super close to the 2 bedrooms. But yeah, 2 bedrooms would be, but it would be super fine between 1 and 2. But yeah, it would be our 2 bedroom townhouses. Best question to ask a developer when purchasing off the plan. Good. So with a developer, the main thing I would ask is for a track record. Development is extremely hard, extremely hard. And if you can't see that person has a track record in the construction industry, they've built stuff, they know what they're doing, I would be very concerned about making a major purchase. I would also make sure you look at their contract and look through intelligent things like your sunset date. So an example of a well-structured sunset date at Williams Corporation, we have a 3-year sunset date. Now, you still need a sunset date. People that say sunset dates are bad aren't commercial. You need a sunset date because the house doesn't exist and there is a risk at creating that house. And what the buyer and the seller don't want is something to go wrong during the creation of that house, and both parties are locked into a forever contract. So you do want a sunset date, but what you don't want is you don't want a rising. So normally in a rising market, you have delays in construction. And then when you have delays in construction, the developer gets close to the sunset date. And then the developer can roll out the purchaser and the developer can realize the gain instead of the purchaser. So the way we mitigate that is we have a clause in our contract that says we cannot deliberately delay construction to realize a capital gain. And we have a 3-year sunset date. So it's essentially we would only reach a sunset date because our average development time is 15 months. Our average time from when a customer signs a contract to gets their house is 12 months. So we essentially have 3 times the average time of when a customer signs to when our sunset date runs out. And we have the clause saying that we can't use that sunset date to realize a financial gain. Now, finally, I would really dive into how the developer is building the house. So I would say, what mitigation do you have to make sure this house doesn't leak? What products did you use and why? In Williams Corporation, we have a fantastic page of our information books explaining how we build a house. and what products we use and why we selected those products. I do look at some. There are definitely build methodologies that are superior to others. And you just want to, as the purchaser, make sure you buy a superior house. I won't go through that because I could do a whole 1 hour session on how to build a house. So I won't do that today. That's actually a good topic for me tomorrow. But yeah, how you build the house is important. I would also just confirm how your warranty's held. So by law, when you purchase a house, you have a 1 year defect period and a 10-year structural period. But if that warranty is just held by a shell company, it's sort of worth nothing. So I would just be checking how reputable is the company, where is the warranty being issued from? Because if something does go wrong, you don't just want to be calling some shell company from a developer that doesn't exist anymore, because that will cause you grief as the customer. But yeah, I think just asking questions, like make sure you ask a lot of questions. It shows you're engaged in the process. It shows you care. If you're buying a house, it's a lot of money. So it is important that you get it right. Now, those are our questions for today. Keep asking them, keep putting them in the comments, and I'll do another session tomorrow. I'm going to make an effort to communicate with you guys each day and really make sure we can provide value. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great morning, and I'll see you next time.